From our studio in Weed, California, this is Inside Siskiyou. Real news, real people, real close. With anchor Shireen Strauss, Sheriff Jeremiah LaRue, and Siskiyou Reviews with Becca Rowell.
News from Dunsmuir. Attention Dunsmuir. Today, Friday, April 30th, the Dunsmuir High School baseball team will play their only home game this season. Come out to the ball field today at 4 p.m. and cheer them on. Dunsmuir is once again reminding people that there is a seat available on the Dunsmuir Planning Commission. The commitment is every second Wednesday of the month between 6 and 8 p.m. You must be 18 years or older, be a registered voter, and live within the sphere of influence to the city of Dunsmuir. This term will end June 2022, so it is a great way to try out being on the commission without a lot of commitment, as usual terms are for 4 years. Contact the city of Dunsmuir at 530-235-4822. The Dunsmuir Elementary School is moving some of their classes outside. With the help of a $10,000 grant from the Nancy Driscoll Foundation, Dunsmuir Rotary, and other community volunteers, there are now new classrooms for students outside. Kathleen Shirley, a paraprofessional at the school, is the brainchild behind this impressive project, where a few multi-level areas were logged in the woods out behind the school to be used as different classrooms. Using resources provided, tables and benches were built from the downed trees and classroom areas were gravelled to secure footing. Volunteers Cindy and Len Foreman built signs and chalk-like boards for the learning areas. Joanne and Ed Steele made a xylophone that is tuned perfectly. There are tables that also double for games like tic-tac-toe, and chess using painted rocks for the pieces is popular with the students, as well as an abacus counter made from wiffle balls, an ant and worm farm, a mud table, a music area, bamboo sensory walk, a bird condo, and covered glass class for all the students to learn in all kinds of weather. Working on a few Saturdays since January, even the students have participated in turning this idea into a reality. There was a dedication gathering on Wednesday, April 28th, where the students released butterflies after having raised them from caterpillars for the occasion. News from McLeod. In the past years, Frontier Communications has been the major internet server in the McLeod area. Starting on Saturday, April 18th, many people in the McLeod area were without or had intermittent internet service that lasted for 8 days. Javier Mendoza, Frontier Communication Vice President, Corporate Communications and External Affairs, said, quote, "After significant troubleshooting, Frontier technicians have resolved reports of intermittent service. We thank our customers for their patience and continue looking into the cause. We believe it was hardware related," unquote. Of the complaints, one customer that lives on the outskirts of McLeod down Squaw Valley Road said that she was told that, quote, "We live in a congested area," unquote, after notifying Frontier that she was bumped off a Zoom meeting 4 times in an hour. She said, quote, "I feel like customers aren't important to them," unquote. Tom Stanstra, another customer that is a prominent media personality, having a column in the San Francisco Chronicle and a radio show, contacted the president of the company and was told, quote, "that I was lucky to have Frontier," unquote. While other customers say that they were supported and reassured by Frontier's technical support, some have looked into switching to other internet companies. Many people, including the McLeod Services District office, have switched over to Northland Cable, also known as Vive, in the past recent years. Northland currently does not cover the outer areas of McLeod. There are other companies available to McLeod residents, including AT&T, and for a higher cost, another alternative service is Starlink Satellite. In other news, After receiving numerous letters and emails in support of the ZIB CSA4 contract, the Zone of Increased Benefits in California Service Area 4, that was voted down on the April 12th board meeting, the contract was put back on the agenda to revisit at the April 26th McLeod Service District board meeting. The contract from the county offered $30,000 to the McLeod Fire Department to cover the greater area around McLeod, which the fire department already does cover. In the 21 responses from McLeod residents submitted to the McLeod Service District Board, all claimed that the board was hasty in their decision with the lack of discussion prior to the vote. During the meeting, McLeod Fire Chief Charlie Miller explained the training qualifications that the volunteer firefighters receive, the qualifications they must have, and the laws in which they must follow, stating that, quote, "I see this is a win-win situation. I thought there would be more questions and more comments. Last year, there were 25 calls in the ZIB. The McLeod Fire Department did not miss any of these mutual aid calls. We can provide the services in this contract," unquote. In the April 12th meeting, the board asked only 2 questions after the county fire warden, Phil Anzo, explained the contract. Board member Christine Ritchie said during the meeting, quote, "I feel that there was a lot of miscommunication," unquote. Board member Michael Rourke, who was one of the 3 members, along with Christy Ritchie and Kathy Young, to vote down the contract, gave a summary of the reasons he voted against accepting the contract. Brandon Chris, County Supervisor District 1, who is also a volunteer firefighter of 16 years, along with County Fire Warden and Fire Chief Phil Anzo, McLeod Fire Department Assistant Chief Kirk Thompson, with 30 years of experience, and firefighter Michael Worthington, with 25 years of professional firefighting, all gave examples of how the McLeod Fire Department is qualified to uphold the contract and to have faith in McLeod Fire Chief Charlie Miller. The board revoted, this time unanimously in favor of the contract, with board member President Kathy Young absent from the meeting. Also, McLeod resident Mary E. Bernelli Sardi celebrated her 107th birthday last Saturday, April 24th. It is not confirmed, but she just may be the oldest person in Siskiyou County. Her secret to her longevity is that she walked an hour every morning up until her 90s, and she has a glass of wine with lunch and dinner. Happy birthday, Mary. Finally, don't forget to put on your calendars the last weekend of May, starting Friday, the 29th through Saturday, the 30th. McLeod is hosting the Mushroom Farmers Market. The famous mushroom festival that starts on Friday will be modified for the COVID tier, but will have many of the fun activities and craft vendors it is known for. Plus, Saturday will be the first McLeod Farmers Market on Main Street. The Farmers Market will continue on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of each month through October. Come and check it out. News from Mount Shasta. A Mount Shasta man found out the hard way that even though the California law taking roadkill was voted in, the practice isn't quite legal yet. A man driving through Mount Shasta on Friday was stopped by police for having a deer carcass tied to the top of his car. He was cited by the California Fish and Wildlife Officer for illegal possession of roadkill. State officials have until January 1st, 2022 to set up a pilot program for issuing wildlife salvage permits. It is estimated that over 20,000 deer alone are hit on California roadways, and the new program, stemmed from the SB 395 bill, will provide both valuable information for the state and food instead of waste. In other news, the Mount Shasta area newspaper will no longer be covering full high school games. As the policy for Gannett, the new company that has bought out the local newspaper in Siskiyou County, it will be doing, quote, topical sports coverage, unquote. News from Weed. Now that most seniors have been vaccinated against COVID-19, the Family and Community Resource Center of Weed is starting its senior lunch program back up on May 3rd. Because of COVID-19 modifications, lunches will be served twice on Monday to smaller groups. Bring your vaccination card. They will also provide a pickup lunch to go for those not vaccinated. For more information, call Andrea Herr at 530-938-9914. College of the Siskiyous closed its campus on Wednesday, April 28th, due to 6 new confirmed cases of COVID. Protocols are in place and currently only essential workers and staff are allowed on campus. The anticipated reopening date of the Weed campus is May 6th. This is a tentative date. Although the Weed campus is currently closed to the public, remote services are available. The Yreka campus remains open. Also, graduation should not be affected as it is being produced virtually by Siskiyou Media Council once again this year and will air simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, the Siskiyou Media Council website, as well as channels MCTV 15 and YCTV 4 at 6 p.m. May 21st. Weed High School also had a confirmed case of COVID on Wednesday. In an emergency notification, parents were asked to pick up their kids at 11:45 a.m., cutting the day short by an hour and 15 minutes. Parents of the students who were directly exposed to the infected individual were contacted and then told to have their child quarantine at home for the next 10 days, after which they may return to school if they have no symptoms. News from Montague. The Montague Parks and Rec Department is asking the public for donations to help maintain and operate their community swimming pool. Business owners can support the pool and their businesses by hanging their banner up to 3 by 6 feet at the pool for $125 per month. Or you can sponsor a free community swim day for $300. Any and all donations are greatly accepted and appreciated. For more information, email or call Jennifer at 530-340-2885. News from Yreka. The Yreka Rotary Club is holding the Siskiyou Scenic Bicycle Tour on Saturday, May 1st. Participants can choose from 6 tours ranging from a vigorous 101 miles to a short sprint of 8 miles. This is an in-person event, will follow the COVID prevention guidelines, and has been approved by the Siskiyou County Health Department as a safe event. You may pick up your packets Friday, April 30th at Upper Greenhorn Park between 5 and 7 p.m. or on Saturday, May 1st, starting at 6 a.m. Visit their website for more details. News from Etna. The Etna Police Activity League will hold the first annual cornhole tournament at the Etna City Park on May 15th, starting at 11 a.m. All proceeds will go to support the Etna PAL Clay bird shooting team's trip expenses to the state finals. Pre-registration is encouraged, but you can pay at the door. Entry fee is $50. For more information, call Linda at 530-340-2418, Kayla at 530-643-0327, or Julie at 530-598-0080. News from Doris. The capital fundraising campaign for the historic Butte Valley State Bank building in downtown Doris continues to receive strong support. As of Tuesday, April 27th, 98 separate donors have given more than $98,000 towards the purchase and conversion of the circa 1908 iconic bank building into an indoor museum, visitor center, and community gathering place. Campaign deadline is May 21st. The day escrow closes and ownership is transferred to the Butte Valley Museum and Historical Society. Last Thursday, April 22nd, the Butte Valley Chamber of Commerce quarterly Coffee with the Cops gathering was moved to the Doris City Hall to accommodate the crowd and top law enforcement officials from the county. First District Supervisor Brandon Criss, District Attorney Kirk Andrus, Sheriff Jeremiah LaRue, United States Forest Service Agent Ethan White, and State Fish and Wildlife Warden Leah Saltzman and the new local deputy sheriff were there. Point of interest and contempt was the massive invasion of commercial-sized marijuana cultivation sites in the valley and surrounding foothills. Residents from throughout the valley gave stark and stunning examples of frightening encounters with, quote-unquote, the growers and the dogs used to protect the grows. Destruction of roads, illegal well drilling, fuel hauling, burglaries, building codes violation, all kinds, and blatant disregard for the rights of others, just to name a few. Officials assured the angry and civilly vocal crowd that this is a county-wide issue and all resources are strained trying to rectify the problem. They asked for help from all citizens to photo document any and all perceived violations, vehicle and violations without compromising their own safety, and remind people that elected officials are working hard to enact effective strategies. News from Hornbrook. Just a teaser. Hornbrook is working on their Klamathon homecoming celebration. Saturday, July 10th, they are planning an afternoon of live music, arts, crafts, and vendors in recognition of Hornbrook's resilience after so much fire destruction. We will bring you more as the date approaches. News from the Krook Tribe. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has recently declared a drought disaster for 50 counties in California, making some growers and farmers throughout the state eligible to seek federal loans. In response to the extreme drought predictions, the Yreka tribe, the Krook tribe, and Klamath tribes of Oregon joined together with the Klamath Basin conservationists and commercial fishermen to sign a letter seeking $250 million in federal funding from the Biden administration. The funds will help native wildlife in this crisis and provide infrastructure improvement projects designed to prevent similar disasters from happening in future low-water years. As quoted from the North Coast Journal, Russell Buster Atterbury, chairman of the Krook Tribe, said, quote, "The Klamath Basin is in crisis. This drought has the potential to irrevocably damage the already anguished ecosystem and economic viability of the area. Salmon are the lifeblood of the Krook people and play an integral role in our culture, ceremonies, and nourishment. We have watched our fisheries decline for decades and have done everything in our power to save them, but we have arrived at an impasse. There is nothing we can do to make the rain come," unquote. News from Happy Camp. The Rush Cheer and Dance team received second place in their division at Nationals. Ranging from 7 to 12 years old, these kids survived the devastating Slater fire just months before. 3 of the team members even lost their homes. The team's coach, Savannah Oliver Hickey, said she couldn't ask for a harder working group of kids. The team's next competition is just 2 weeks away and in Las Vegas. Break a leg.
Hi guys, I'm Becca Rao with Siskiyou Reviews, and this week I visited the Thrive Bar located in Mount Shasta. The Thrive Bar is owned by local husband and wife Nyon and Rebecca. The couple first started a kombucha company in Mount Shasta in 2017. They primarily sold at the Mount Shasta Farmers Market, but demand quickly grew. They soon found themselves selling to local restaurants and even selling at 3 farmers markets in Southern Oregon. They rented a small facility next to Northbound Coffee Roasters in Mount Shasta, but within 2 years they had already outgrown it. Nyan says at this point they had to really pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but they managed to purchase their current facility on Chestnut Street after a 2-year remodel and many rounds of inspections and 3 letter agencies with clipboards. They were finally able to open during the COVID shutdown. They see that as a double-edged sword. It wasn't what they had planned, but it allowed them to open in stages now. At Alua's Thrive Bar, they offer much more than just their popular kombucha. They also have superfood smoothies, acai bowls, organic espresso drinks with superfood infusions like performance mushrooms. They also have a nice selection of grab-and-go items like wraps, salads, and bowls, all with superfoods in mind. Their vision is to serve popular foods that people are familiar with, but healthier than what people will get elsewhere. They are eagerly waiting to launch their cafe menu, which has hot foods like soups, sandwiches, and hot bowls, and they even talk about a falafel waffle. The owners say the word thrive comes from the idea that being around other health-oriented people brings people up in a social setting to maximize their potential and to thrive in their daily life. The Thrive Bar has a super refreshing and clean atmosphere with indoor and outdoor seating, and a really awesome mural of Mount Shasta can be seen on one of the walls, along with other inspirational decor that stems from Nyan's time spent living in Maui. I got to try the Avalanche acai bowl, and I was surprised how filling it was. It also was packed with flavor, and I was completely satisfied after eating it all, and I didn't feel weighed down like you would after eating a heavier meal. Also, the bowl being packed with superfoods gave me a nice pick-me-up. Another menu item that had my name written all over it was the Rebecca's chai, and that was also super tasty. It had just the right amount of spice and cream, and it also contained the ever so talked about performance mushroom powder. So if you're in the area and want to go somewhere that has some out of this world flavor and is organic and healthy at the same time, the Thrive Bar is the place to go. And while you're there, get some of their kombucha on tap to go. You have not tasted real kombucha until you have had theirs. With their rotating seasonal flavors of what's on tap, you can sample whichever ones sound good to you or just taste them all. You can't miss the big blue building right on Chestnut Street in Mount Shasta. Join me next week for a review of Bella's Artworks Cafe in Yreka. And don't forget to eat local.
Hello, Siskiyou County. I'm Sheriff Jeremiah LaRue, and this is your weekly Sheriff's Report. As April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I would like to share with you about what you should do if you are the victim of sexual assault. First, if you are assaulted, get to a safe place. Do not shower or bathe in any way, change or destroy clothing, or disturb the scene. It's important to preserve all evidence of the crime. Do get medical attention as soon as possible. Call the police and call the Siskiyou Domestic Violence and Crisis Center hotline for support and information. The mission of the Siskiyou Domestic Violence and Crisis Center is to assist victims in becoming survivors by providing advocacy and support services while empowering them during this transitional period. It is also their goal to influence public policy and attitudes towards these crimes. Siskiyou Domestic Violence and Crisis Center is dedicated to facilitating a healthy recovery process for all domestic violence and sexual assault survivors, and to reducing the occurrences of these crimes through community awareness and prevention projects. Originally funded from the Yreka Business and Professional Women's Organization, volunteers provided a 24-hour, 7 days a week hotline. Victims and their children were then housed in local motel rooms or driven to a shelter in Redding. In 1984, the program became incorporated as a nonprofit, and in 1992, a residence was purchased to be used as a confidential shelter. The shelter remains the only one of its kind in Siskiyou County. If you are the victim of sexual assault or domestic violence, call the toll-free hotline 24/7 at 1-877-842-4068 or visit their website sdvcc.org. All services are free and confidential without regard to race, age, gender, sexual orientation, or disabilities. Remember, you are not to blame. We are grateful for the important work of the Siskiyou Domestic Violence and Crisis Center and value the advocacy and support they provide for Siskiyou County. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next week.